Coming to you raw and unscripted. Beaming across Ontario and beyond to places like Port Dover, tiny beaches, Smoky Falls, and Perth. This is the Real Hickson Real Estate Podcast. Whether you're listening on your commute or putting on your suit, whether it's your morning stroll or you're on patrol, you just finished prayer or dropped the kids at daycare, you're in the bar, your car, or listening with the bathroom door ajar, near or far, this is the Jess and Giro Show. We're grateful for flattery and prone to inaccuracies. This is your guide to Toronto culture, people, events, news, but most importantly, real estate talk. Hello guys, and welcome back to another exciting episode of the podcast. Number 18, Jessica.
Hi guys, just me and you today.
Just us two. We've had a few guests over the last few podcasts, and I thought we'd just get back to our roots.
Back to the basics.
Back to the basics. So the title of today's episode is Clickbait, and we will get to that. It's a very important topic. It keeps coming up, so we will talk about that. But Jess, first of all, what's happening in the market? What's going on?
Where to begin?
Okay, well, we can start with the rental market.
Yeah, busy.
Still very busy. Now, I was interested to see past September 1st how, things would change because, a lot of international students are going back to schools. I mean, that doesn't make up everything. You've been seeing a lot of international people coming for jobs.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of immigration that's come through.
Yeah.
That's been put on hold for the last few years. People are coming with very good jobs, with some cash.
Yeah.
But obviously they don't have Canadian credit.
Now, you and I have done at least half a dozen over the last 2 months lease listings for landlords.
Yeah.
So we can see exactly the people that are coming in to Canada. And it just seems like maybe there was just a backup for the last 2 years and everyone's just coming full force. Yeah. Plus, as I've talked about in previous podcasts, and I predicted, by the way, thank you very much, there's a hangover of people living in these far outer suburbs.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about the edge of the GTA. I'm talking like way far out. Maybe people move back to their parents' basement, and now they're coming back to the city. But I think it's a percentage of it is that as well.
Yeah, people need to be back at work. Like some jobs are 100% back.
Yeah, it's interesting to see. And some people were in the search for jobs where you could stay and work from home.
Yeah.
And maybe that didn't work out for them. Maybe the reality is they just have to come back to the city and work. But look, either way, it's just been nuts. Like the average one bedroom before, we were looking around the $2,000 mark to $2,100 for a one bedroom. Mm-hmm. Now it's up to around $2,400 on average. Yeah. Which is crazy. And then the two bedrooms, it's a knock-on effect because people that could only afford $1,700, $1,800 before are now going with friends, maybe some family or a partner, and they're renting two-bedroom places, which are well over $3,000 now.
Yeah, and lots of competition on those. Everything I showed over the weekend had multiple offers on it, and things are going out over asking.
And not even that, like people offering extra month's rent up front, which is illegal for the landlord to ask for that from tenants, but the tenants can offer it. And
well, it's the way to differentiate yourself.
Yeah, it's kind of the norm. I mean, it makes sense. Look, if you're getting a student that were coming here for a couple of years and they have no credit and they have no job and they're here to study, it does make sense because the whole point of the rental vetting process for tenants is to figure out their credit worthiness and their income ability. So by paying the year up front, for example, like it really overrides that, I guess. So
but it's not, we can't recommend you do that.
Of course. Every situation is different. But yeah, guys, if you're out there, if you're considering like renting your basement or a part of your home that can be separated, now is definitely the time to do it.
Yeah, there's not a ton of inventory and lots of people looking.
Lots of people still looking. Now, which makes me think about investors coming back. There has been a lull of investors, but the price has been dropping and the rent's coming up. Like it makes me think like the cash flow positive on some of these properties is definitely going to be better than it was before.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know about cash flow positive. That's kind of hard in this city, but it's a little bit more manageable.
Yeah, I mean, we're getting closer.
So high.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so, I mean, look, in terms of prices, in sales, they're coming back, aren't they?
Yeah, they're coming back and the buyers are back. There's, again, multiple offers on places. There's offer presentations on places. I'm seeing action.
Now, and this is also, a factor of this is been the interest rates. Now, we've just heard last week the new interest rates, 0.75 basis points, Jess. Pretty aggressive. Now, the Bank of Canada has always said they're going to try and track inflation and combat inflation with these interest rates. And the inflationary figures came out yesterday for last month, and they're lower than expected. You guys can check out that on Instagram if you're really curious about numbers. But basically, inflation's coming back down. Gas prices are coming down. Some grocery prices are coming back down. So this is all positive stuff. And if you read the media, they'll tell you that maybe at this point the market's gone to crap and the sky is fallen. But guys, the proof is in the pudding. They do that to get clicks, and that's kind of the main point of today's topic, which is lovely, perfect segue, Jiro. Good for me. Is clickbait and how the public perceives what's going on.
Yeah.
Because Jess, you and I, we're feeling this every single day. We're in it. We're seeing it daily. We're seeing the listings, how long they're on the market for, what they're selling for. Is it under list price, over list price, multiple offers we're starting to see again. And we know exactly what's happening in the market. And we had this similar conversation with Michael from the last podcast, is he has the finger on the pulse. The office has the finger on the pulse.
Yeah.
And we see exactly what's going on. But for the news cycles, they're looking for content.
Yeah. And it's easy to, say the sky is falling to get people to click on the article.
It's very easy.
Yeah. And they do.
And they do. And so I kind of want to discuss that. These scare articles. I mean, the funny thing was that in February, when the market was at its peak,
and you couldn't buy anything.
And you couldn't buy anything. And you couldn't even see a place because it's already sold.
Yeah.
Kind of like where the rental market is right now, by the way. And people were screaming, how are my kids ever going to afford anything? Yeah. How am I ever going to afford anything? Yeah. These prices are nuts. Well, now...
This can't keep going like this.
This can't keep going like this. And guess what? It didn't keep going like this. Because guess what? The market is cyclical. It goes up. It goes down. Maybe sometimes it goes down for a little bit longer. Maybe sometimes it stays up for a little bit longer. But the idea is it's just a roller coaster, right?
Yeah.
And they had the clickbait articles then.
Yeah.
And now they've just switched it the complete opposite. And now they're saying that everyone's going to lose money. There's the recession.
Don't buy. Don't do this.
Don't do this. Be safe. Be stable.
Yeah.
And actually, the best time to buy something would probably be now.
Yeah.
Really. I mean, I guess we should talk about, the agents. A lot of other agents do get their information from these news articles as well. I mean, it's not just the public. The public are misinformed, or at least they're misrepresented. And maybe this article, maybe the other article takes it out of context or whatever. Maybe the facts are there, but the facts don't sell the news.
No.
People always say that.
Yeah.
And as we said, the problem is, unfortunately, a lot of these other agents getting their news sources rather than doing the actual research and finding out what is going on. Especially some agents that don't do a lot of business in a year.
Well, it's a great way to feel better about yourself.
Yeah, especially I mean, we were just the other day, Jess. We were knocking on doors, and we spoke to someone. We said, "Oh, we were just on the market, and they're off the market at that point." And they said, "Oh, we were not going to sell because the market's gone to crap." And you have to correct them and just say,
not necessarily.
That's not necessarily.
Yeah.
Right? But you have to think, well, their agent, and we did look it up after that, they didn't sell in 60 days when other stuff in the area was selling.
Yeah.
Now, you got to think that agent maybe is a little biased in saying, "Oh, don't worry, it didn't sell because of X, Y, Z."
Yeah, it's a very good
Look at this. Yeah, it's a very good excuse
for not doing the work that it needs to do. Exactly.
And especially the down market, especially in the trough of it, we saw 2 months, 3 months ago, you really had to work hard as an agent to sell stuff.
Yeah.
And some agents have been accustomed to getting listings, and it just kind of sells itself. And in some markets, maybe, yes, that's the truth.
Yeah, but not at the moment.
But not at the moment. I mean, it's a little better. We are, as I mentioned before, we are starting to see a little bit of multiple offers. I think this is basically the concept. Some sellers that maybe have been trying to sell the last couple of months, they've been a bit more realistic in price, and they've come down. Yeah. Also, the buyers have maybe gotten used to the rates, and they're coming up to the point. So you basically meet in this equilibrium.
Yeah, and or their purchasing power has decreased a bit, so they're looking at a little bit of a different type of home.
And again,
different price point.
Maybe they've been trying, and they're like, listen, we just can't afford what we wanted. Maybe they go to family, mum and dad, and just maybe, ask for some money to help out. Like, we've always talked about this. This is the new reality.
Yeah.
And, not everyone is in a privileged situation to do that. But for some reality, like, that's just what people have to do these days to get in. Also,
you don't have to buy the perfect house,
Yeah. We're always saying that, guys. Stepping stone house, please. Especially first-time home buyers. You're never going to buy exactly what you need. The question is, and I always think of it in five-year increments, because why? Because you're refinancing. If most regularly every 5 years, that's probably a good way to do it. Some people less, but always think about it. And can I live here? Will this serve me for the next 5 years?
Yeah.
Can I get by? Okay, maybe I'm going to hate that there's not that extra bathroom. Maybe I can renovate. Okay.
Build some equity.
When getting mortgages, you can actually get part renovation mortgages on locked in with that.
Yeah.
People don't realize that.
Yeah, no, there's lots of options. Lots of financing options.
And also, of course, like some people just don't have the guts or the nerve to renovate. They're scared to. I get that.
Yeah.
We live in a very convenient, reality these days. People aren't prepared to do some work. But guys, if you do that, it will pay off. Like bathroom, kitchens. We've talked about improvements before on previous podcasts, but it's worth doing. So, we're back to this equilibrium where things are starting to sell again. I think things that are being properly presented, marketed, well priced, that's kind of hitting the sweet spot, and stuff's starting to move again. So, guys, don't believe everything you read. Now, the next point I want to talk about is, okay, some of these stats are correct. Prices going down 20-30%. Let's just say from CMHC, but this is Canada-wide.
Yeah.
And the important point that we always talk about is there's a big difference between Canada-wide and the GTA.
Yeah. The other thing is a lot of the articles don't differentiate between prices that's going down and number of sales. Number of sales has decreased significantly, but that is just because there's less buyers out, there's less on the market in general. It's not the price has gone down 40-50%. It's the number of transactions.
Exactly.
That's what gets me annoyed about the clickbait.
Can I? So we can go back and forth about all these numbers and like this and that and cycles and whatever. But what was a huge factor? What were people doing the last 2-3 months?
From my Instagram, everyone was in Europe. Everyone
was traveling.
I never seen more people traveling in my life.
Spain, Greece, Europe, Portugal, and so these numbers. Oh, it's because buyer confidence. How about people just weren't in the country? They were away. And guess what you need in real estate markets? You need people at home.
Yeah.
Whether they're listing or they're looking to buy.
Yeah.
So people are
enjoying their summer.
Exactly. I mean, this is the first real summer we've had post-pandemic.
Yes.
And, we've kind of feel bad talking to people about real estate. The last thing they want to hear is real estate or think business or talk about their work, talk about their job.
On the beach.
No one wants to talk about, coronavirus anymore or vaccines or whatever.
Yeah.
They just want to get away.
Yeah.
So in my opinion, that was a huge thing. I mean, it's always like I look at the behaviors, and that's kind of what I want to talk about too. Like, what are the current behaviors?
Yeah.
Well, just look on the news articles. What's 6 Buzz? What's BlogTO talking about? They were talking about how congested the airports were, and that's all I have to see.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you couldn't pack a suitcase.
Now, how many agents are there out there that have legitimate buyers, probably ready to buy, that were just like, their buyers are saying to them, "Oh, well, we're going away for 2 weeks. I'll speak to you when we get back."
Yeah.
And they come back. They're in holiday mode.
We're not putting it on the market because we know 50% of the population is on vacation right now.
Yeah.
Why would we be on the market for people that aren't around?
And it's this kind of like analysis of market conditions and kind of buyer and seller behavior that people just don't think about. They're too lazy to think about.
But naturally, real estate does chill out in the summer.
Yeah.
And then the fall market ramps back up, and that's exactly what we're seeing again.
Exactly. We know that through 2021, the household savings were up. We know that. So what are people doing? They're paying for trips. They're also renovating their homes.
Yeah, lots of renovations.
Lots of renovations. Driving down the road, you see a yard bin in everyone's driveway. People resealing their driveways. People doing their roofs, which is all good things to do, by the way. A lot of them probably overdue. Why? Because people before the pandemic were very distracted by their lives, very distracted by their jobs, and the pandemic forced us, again, we've talked about it before, to just stare at the four walls. So a lot of people spending money on those kinds of things, and also like CERB's running out. And this EI is running out for a lot of people. So the household savings maybe coming back to more like a balance, would you say?
Yeah, well, and the price of everything has drastically increased.
Exactly, and that's as well, right?
Yeah.
So again, the inflation having a big part to play. I guess also a big factor is that a lot of buyers, especially first-time home buyers, they're talking about now. I actually read an article today. There's the fear of missing out, FOMO, right? But there's also the fear of overpaying.
Of course.
FOOP. And this is a natural reaction. It's hilarious, though, because it's impossible to overpay as long as you don't sell at the wrong time. Yeah. If there is an outside force that you're selling under duress, or you're selling before you wanted to prematurely.
Yeah.
That's the only real way you can overpay.
There's overpaying if you get too emotionally involved, and there's factors of that offer presentation night.
Of course.
Yes, you can overpay. Of course.
Yeah, I mean, look, the immediate repercussions is you're trying to close, and the lender won't appraise the home. You have to come up with the difference. That's the first and foremost, the biggest
you just
risk.
Never pay more than what you're approved for. That's number one.
There you go.
That's your number one thing.
There you go.
Just stay within your means.
Yeah, I mean,
know your limit, play within it.
That's right. Well, it is gambling. Essentially, it's all a risk.
Yeah.
Taking a new job is a risk.
Everything. But you have to know what your max is, and you can't go over that. That's the number one way to not overpay. Exactly.
But as I said, look, as long as you're not going crazy to begin with, okay, maybe it was a little higher. 2 months' time, the prices drop, et cetera, et cetera. Within 3 to 5 years, you look at the graphs. And I'm going to do a dedicated video on this.
You'd love a graph.
I love a graph. I like statistics and averages because it's very easy to take a month, 2 months, 3 months of a graph and see crazy drops. But if you contextualize that, like over 20, 30 years, then you truly start to understand what real estate's about.
Yeah, that's the thing, that people are overreacting. Yes, in February, there was mistakes made. And if you compare February to today, it looks like overpayment. But we'll talk in 5 years.
Exactly.
And it won't even mean
anything. I would like to talk by next February, to be honest.
Yeah.
The last 2 years, that's what's been happening.
Yeah.
January, February's been blowing it up.
Yeah.
And it could also be, we'll either see the fall market traditionally, then maybe it cools down for Christmas, then it starts ramping back up January, February for the spring market, or what we saw in actually 2020, or it was 2021, it was 2020, it ramped from the fall market directly into spring market and didn't let up.
December 20.
It was November, December, because there was the lull in March, so that spring market was killed.
Yeah.
And then it came back. We expected it to maybe lull around Christmas time, 2020. And it kept going. November, December, January, February, and then ramped into spring. But again, this is all contextual. This is all a long-term game. There's no quick money here. Okay, maybe if you're in your active flipping and you time the market extremely well and you know that it's low, kind of like right now, and you were able to flip it maybe in 6 months' time next spring, then you might be able to make some money quickly. But other than that, this is a lifestyle. This is your life. This is where you want to live.
Especially if this is your primary residence.
Exactly. Yeah, investment's probably a little bit different. But this is the long game.
Yeah.
And interestingly enough, with a lot more young people, 20 and 30-year-olds in investments these days, even day trading and also doing crypto trading, this mentality of getting, quick money like NFTs, selling trading cards, like flipping all these things, which is great, and it's definitely successful for some people. But real estate is really the safe bet, and it's the long game.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I always say this: is there one more person in Toronto tomorrow than there was today? And as we were just talking about in the rental market, yes, there is.
I honestly think a lot of the people that are getting rentals today, buying next year, they're going to come to buy because they're going to have their Canadian credit. They're going to be more established in the city, and they are going to come full force. Maybe
their families will send money over here, or they're getting good jobs. A lot of this stuff, they're professionals too. It's not just...
Oh, people are coming with very good jobs. A lot of IT.
Yeah, a lot of
very,
technology.
Educated, very skilled workers.
Okay, well, I mean, that's a good question. You saw all of these applications from people for our rentals.
Yeah.
What kind of jobs were they?
Yeah, a lot of them with technology companies. That was the trend I noticed.
And we hear about a lot of tech booms happening.
Yeah.
Not in just Ontario, but out east, out west a little bit. So, this is the reality. And, other factors like, let's just say people living in Europe, they're a little bit worried about the situation that's happening in Ukraine. It's a little bit too close to home. And, okay, what have you been seeing on TikTok? The English girls coming over to Toronto.
Oh, there's a lot of English people
coming. And now all the English people are coming. It's like a trend, which I love, by the way. Like, shout out to all my English people. If you're listening in England right now, let's call it the UK because it's the greater. But love all those guys. Good chat.
You want to be friends with more English people.
I do. I want to go to pubs with English people and drink bitter. Pints of bitter.
Okay.
But anyways, we're getting off track.
We always get off track.
The point is, this is what's actually happening. You're hearing it from people that have their finger on the pulse, daily, weekly, monthly, where we feel the change, we see the change, and I don't want to completely discredit these clickbaiters. Some are much worse than others. Look, at the end of the day, they are reporting the facts, which is fantastic. But as long as you take some of it with a grain of salt, and really the advice is to, if you do have any questions or concerns, is reach out to us. Reach out to us on the socials.
What's the email address?
Well, thank you for asking, because I was about to say it.
Yeah.
hicksonrealestateteam@gmail.com.
What was that again?
It's hicksonrealestateteam@gmail.com.
Amazing.
Fantastic. You ever should do voiceover work, Jess?
Yeah, I think so. That should be your side gig.
That should be my little side gig. Now.
Or reach out on TikTok at Hickson Real Estate.
Yep.
Instagram.
All of it. Yep. Well, I'm going to be trying to do TikTok live soon, which is basically podcast, but live when people can ask me free real estate advice. Isn't that fun?
That's going to be exciting.
Free. I'm just giving it away for free.
And they can see your face.
And they can see my face for radio. No, maybe I can hide behind your face because you're way more pretty than me. And you got a new hairdo and you got a cool Nashville hat on. You should show the people.
Maybe another time.
Maybe another time.
I'm fighting a little bit of a cold at the moment.
You are?
Yeah.
Oh, I couldn't have told with your
raspy voice.
Your velvet tones. Okay, so let's give out some advice, Jess. I just want to give out some advice.
You always want to give advice.
You understand the concept, guys. Now, this is my advice. If you're looking to downsize, I would wait. And by the way, I do all of this kinds of advice month to month in my newsletter. If you want the newsletter, let me know. But downsizing, I would wait. I would wait for a bit of a strong market because you're giving up the biggest asset. Unless you really need to for other reasons. But if you can afford to wait, then just wait. For first-time home buyers, although the interest rates are up, if you can qualify on the monthly rate we're at now, then you're in the best position. For a variable rate. Now, yeah, whether you decide to go fixed or variable, that's up to you. I would probably myself want to go variable, but again, that'd be a conversation for a mortgage broker. We're always having good conversations with mortgage brokers. We're trying to get the best advice. But basically, yeah, if you are a first-time home buyer, the prices, they're not the lowest they've been because the bottom was basically 2 months ago. Okay, so the next best time to buy is now. So if you can, the price is there. And think about this. I don't know how big this podcast is, but there are a lot of people out there that do believe that the market is going to crap. And they will sell to you based on that idea, even though I think that's incorrect, in the GTA at least, where markets are coming back. If they believe that the prices are going to crap, then they will sell under false pretenses for themselves, and you could probably snag yourself a very good deal.
Yeah, there are some deals.
We're seeing it happening.
For sure.
Now, not everyone understands. Some people do understand that the market's coming back, and they have been pricing accordingly. And what it ends up selling for, we're starting to see, list price or maybe a little bit over in some instances. But if you're a first-time home buyer, or if you're looking to upsize, if you already own a condo maybe or a townhouse, and you're looking to go to that next stepping stone house, now is also a fantastic time to buy. Why? Because yes, you will take a hit on your place, fine, but what you're buying will be relatively cheaper. So if the whole market is going down 10%, yes, you've lost 10% on your $800,000 townhouse or your $600,000 condo, but that $1.4 million detached home is now down to 1.2. So, it has relatively become a lot cheaper and easier. So if that's the advice we're going to give out, that is the advice. Now, it's not just so we get more business. It's really, we're really looking out for you guys. We do these similar things for our own selves. And that's just the reality. Isn't that right, Jess?
It's true.
We're always looking out for them. Yeah. We care about them.
We want the best for you.
What else can I say? Well, right now I'm doing CMAs for all of my clients, which is basically everyone that's bought with us in the past. I'm telling them the new prices. Mm-hmm. And it'd be very easy for me to only send it to them in the height of the markets.
Yeah.
But I'm sending it, I'm actually going to start sending it 4 times a year, every quarter.
Yeah.
So you can see when it was at the height, you can see when it's dropped a little bit, and it's not me sugarcoating anything, it's me just being straight up and real.
Yeah, it's not always the best news, but we're not here to only tell you lies.
No, this is just the reality. We're here for the people.
Yeah.
We're here to help see you guys be happy.
Yeah, and this is exciting stuff.
Very exciting stuff. Jess, any predictions?
Well, I'm not going
for the end of this year.
I'm not going to predict anything.
Why not?
Because I don't have a crystal ball, even though I'm wearing a very fortune-telling hat
right now. Maybe we'll post this on social media, guys. Maybe you'll see the hat.
Maybe we'll see
on Instagram. It's a fantastic hat.
No, I don't have a crystal ball, but I usually believe what goes up, what goes down must come up, what goes up must come down.
Exactly. Yep.
So I think we're slowly going to see things get better.
I personally think by Christmas, I think we might see, and this is just my opinion, we might see rentals chill out a bit. I think by Christmas.
Yeah.
That's my prediction. I think prices will continue to come back. I think we'll be interested to see in fall by how much they come back, whether it's a little bit or whether it's a lot.
Yeah, I think it will slowly get better.
Remember this concept. It takes a good few months at a certain price for prices to start coming down. It takes only one comparable turning up next week for prices to jump, and new ideas of higher prices, and new expectations to emerge. So this is why always be wary of a down market. It can always bounce back at any time. And I also will be curious to see whether the fall market sustains through to January and February again, or whether there will be that natural lull again. Either way, guys, if you have any questions, you need any more insights, we're all talking about this very generally. And in order to be very accurate, we need to be pocket specific, I call it. Not even just region to region. It's even some neighborhoods, some small pockets are very different to each other. So if you have any questions, if you're not one of our clients already that we'll be sending out the CMA to, and you want to know how much your place is worth, or what you possibly could afford as a new buyer, reach out to us and we'll hook you up with a mortgage broker, or we'll let you know what's kind of happening in your market and your neighborhood, and we'll give you a good idea of where you sit, where you stand. Or you just want to talk to us. Also, if you just want to say, hey, love the podcast, we also appreciate that too. We get that from time to time. And it's really encouraging. It's nice to hear. It'll make us do it more often. Exactly. But again, you can hit us up on Instagram at Hickson Real Estate, the TikTok at Hickson Real Estate. Again, that email, hicksonrealestateteam@gmail.com.
Thanks so much for listening.
Guys. A bit of a shorter one this week, but that's okay. We want to keep the information flowing, we want to keep the updates happening, and we will speak to you guys soon. Bye. Thanks so much. Bye, guys.